Syncretism, another aspect of inflectional morphology. We speak of syncretism when a single inflected form corresponds to more than one set of morphosyntactic features. It may combine the number, it may combine the gender, it may combine the case. Syncretism is common cross-linguistically and it raises a number of questions relevant to morphological theory. For example, in Bulgarian, imperfect and aorist paradigm, these are two types of verb. Imperfect, progressive. The second person singular and third person singular forms are identical, right? There is no difference between second person and third person. In many languages, the second person form and the third person forms are same, or in some languages they are different. For example, even in English, second person, first person are and third person plural are the same, but third person singular and the rest are different. The aorist is a past tense. For example, the aorist, it shows the aspect of which is past of a verb. We show this for the verbs crad, for example, steal, and begrudge, play. These are the citation from the lexeme. These we have taken from the citation forms. For example, the aorist, especially in Latin, the crad means to stay. So it is the aorist form which shows past tense. Similarly, play, right? It shows past tense. Entry, grid, right? So these two forms shows the past tense, past form of the verbs. If we look at this, and these are some examples of imperfect. For example, second person singular, crad ec. So the sir is preterite suffix. Preterite suffix refers to past tense, and a is a third person agreement, like third person s in English. So you can see that these two forms, to steal and to play, right? Similarly, aorist form will be second person crade and third person singular will also be crade. Similarly, igra and igra. So what aspect we are discussing is that in certain languages, right, single word gives two forms, imperfective and aorist. For example, in many language, he went and he was going are given by the same verb, right? So these are different aspects of different languages which are discussed under this heading, syncretism. We see here that a single inflectional form such as crede may express more than one set of morphosyntactic features, second person and third person. Similarly, second person singular aorist or third person singular aorist. Romanians also display widespread syncretism. The term typology refers to classification based on the comparative study of types, and morphological typology was the first syntactic method used by linguists in the 19th century to compare the structures of different languages. So the word typology was used in morphology. While other sorts of typology flourish today, especially syntactic typology, morphological typology has languished since it was criticized by the first American structuralist Edward Spur in his book Language. Still, the traditional terms are used often enough to warrant mention, and the distinction, while they may not be valid for entire languages and are still useful for describing individual morphological phenomena. So we are just talking about that how different terms are used in morphology. The basic typology has to do with the scale running from analytic to synthetic languages. Analytical languages are the language in which we can analyze the components separately, and synthetic languages are the language in which different aspects of the words are or sentence are combined. For example, analytical languages, the example is English, and synthetic languages, the Greek and the Latin language. So there are different languages that we find. We are going to discuss different types of languages, which encodes the degree to which the individual meaningful elements in a language are expressed separately. At the analytic end, we have the isolating languages in which different components are isolated. For example, Vietnamese is the prototypical example of isolated language because the only morphology it has is compounding. There are no suffix. With the tones, we give different meanings of we make different changes in the words. So this is an example of isolating language. It has derivational or inflectional process of any kind. It has no derivational process of any kind. Right? We have already discussed about Vietnamese language. The next type is inflected, of which the more syntactic subtypes is agglutinating. So this is another type of among the morphologically different languages from other. This is agglutinating language. So an agglutinating language like Turkish or Hungarian has affixes, but they are strung out quite separately, each expressing a single notion and easily identifiable. So different segments, different affixes are added to the language and they have their individual meaning. So this is an example of agglutinating language. So another type of languages is fusional language. So if you look at these language, when the suffix in nominative or accusative case is added to the word, it deletes the vowel sound of the root word. So you can see that whenever they are added to it, they drop. So s, m, I and us have dropped the previous vowel sound of the words. So another type of languages is polysynthetic languages. The languages of this type cited most often come from North America. One example of polysynthetic languages, Nuchaha Nulth, called Nukta in earlier literature, a language spoken on Vancouver Island in British Columbia. So even English can have one word. Obviously, go, stop, these are one word which gives the whole meaning of the sentence. Perfectly well formed such utterance, but compared to English, polysynthetic languages are able to express much more complex notion using a single word, including subject, verb, object, and other information. So the English gloss of this single Nuchaha Nuth word, for example, contains a complex subject, noun phrase, a progressive verb, a prepositional phrase expressing location. So this single word gives the whole syntactic functions of the word. So these are different types of the words: agglutinative, isolating, synthetic, polysynthetic. This is the typology that we use to describe different types of languages in which different units of the units are combined with the words which segregate them from other types of the languages.